chaos. Wicked witches. Trusting the unknown. Welcome to the Nonsense in the Chaos. I'm your host, Jolie Rose. I am, you might be able to tell from my voice, a little bit ill, and the podcast is late. I am ever so sorry. I've actually had a complete, not meltdown, that's the wrong word. The train came off the wheels this week I ran out of HRT and my thyroid medication and needed a repeat prescription before last weekend and didn't get it in time, and so didn't take it over the weekend. And then on Monday, just everything went completely crazy. I double booked myself with a tourism summit, which was really important, and it was with the government, going over to Guernsey to talk to service providers and build products and relationships. And for me, it was to plan the festivals that I may or may not be doing. I'll tell you more about that in a sec. And I went and double booked myself with my two best mates who just got married, and they were over for their honeymoon. So it was like quite big things to double book. Really difficult. So it wasn't as if I could easily decide what to do. I ended up splitting the difference because my friends were over for the same amount of time that the summit was going on for. So I just did a day and a half of the summit and a day and a half with my friends. And it was exhausting. I was trying to catch up because I managed to get the medication on Monday, and I was playing catch up with my meds and they were getting me back into being okay again and feeling okay again. But I then came down with a cold, and so I was also fighting a cold at the same time. And I didn't even think about the podcast until today. I've got work tonight at the Mermaid and then work all day on Sunday. And then I'm also taking people out kayaking tomorrow because the season's begun. So I'll be working for Adventure Sark, taking people out regularly, which I didn't think I could do. But I took my friends out yesterday who were here for their honeymoon, and we went kayaking. And actually I was a bit fitter than I thought I was, and was actually okay doing it. But I really don't feel ready for this weekend physically. I don't feel like I'm going to be able to do it. I just feel like this cold's going to get me. But I also wasn't able to cover my colleague because my colleague got ill. There's something going around. And because my friends were over for the honeymoon, I just said, I really can't cover you. So then I'm going to feel really bad if I now have to be covered. So I'm going to try not to be. It's only this weekend, but I'll probably be ill next week. But that's next week's problem. Yeah, it just feels like this has been a bit insane. So it was funny, I spoke to my friend Saffron and said that all of the WhatsApp messages I sent her, Saffron, who I interviewed on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, I was like, all of the WhatsApp messages I send you today are going to end up being just what the podcast is about. So apologies, Saffron, that the podcast is a repeat of our messages. But yeah, last week I had the Guernsey tourism people come over to Sark, and we showed them around. And the astrology of last week was saying that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're going to be asking questions. And it's really good to get clear what those questions are, like to notice what's coming up, what you're thinking about, what you're mulling over. And then Thursday with the day when answers come through. So keep an eye out for what's coming through on Thursday. My question was, am I actually physically able to put on another festival a month after Beltane? I felt okay until today. Now, because I'm feeling ill, I'm like, absolutely no. I did feel energetically like I could do it, but I would need a lot of help. And I had called in all the favours that I could possibly call in from people on Sark for Beltane. So if I was to do it again, I would need a team of people who are being paid properly to come over with the production company that I'm going to be working with. So I need to have enough money. Well, that wasn't even what was in my head. Actually, on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was like, there's no way I can do this. There's no way I could do it myself, but I couldn't ask other people to step up and do it again. The only way would be if the production company did it. And then on the Thursday when Guernsey came over, Guernsey Tourism were like, your festival's the kind of flagship thing that we're doing as part of the William the Conqueror Millennium celebrations. We want you to go ahead. We will help you any way we can, like just make it happen, but you will have as much support as we can give you. So I just was like, okay, I guess I've got to do it then. So then on Monday, I discovered that I had double booked myself to go to the tourism summit with my friends coming over for the honeymoon. And luckily, someone asked me, or asked Dizzle in the morning, oh, isn't Jolie going to the summit in Guernsey today? And it actually turned out that we didn't need to be on the boat till 4:20 in the afternoon. So I had a day at least to sort things out, change things around and make it work. I managed to make everything okay with my friends who are coming over. I booked them a meal, but I said it would just have to be the two of you rather than me and Diz coming with you. If you go just the two of you and then have a day to yourselves, and then I'll be over on the 3:00 ferry. And that actually ended up working out well because they had a bit of time to themselves and they had a really lovely time. And then we had loads of time together. Like we did loads of stuff afterwards when I got back. So it worked out just fine. And I got ready to go to the tourism summit. But because my medication just picked it up that morning and taken it that morning, but it wasn't working again yet, so it's been interesting to observe how much the HRT is definitely working. I do not know, and I'm in awe of all the women who have got through menopause without having, I mean, even if you don't feel like you need to go on HRT and you haven't taken HRT, but just the number of women who probably did need it and how hard life has been for all those women. And it makes me really angry. I cannot believe how much I couldn't do anything. And I'm still in catch up because obviously I started taking the medication again. I think, I feel a bit better now, but so I went to the tourism summit and it went really well. And I had lots of great conversations, and we're going to get loads of support for the festivals from people outside of the government as well. And it just went great. And I was really inspired and had ideas of how to make it work. I've then subsequently had some people chuck some spanners in the works since I got back here to Sark, but I'm not going to let that derail me. That's the thing with this thing of living on Sark and in this community, is that you can just get someone just say something to you in the pub or, in the street that just totally sidelines everything. So it is a kaleidoscope. The only way to describe it is a kaleidoscope, because you can be turning a kaleidoscope and then just one little chink of glass falls and it changes the whole picture again. And you have to learn to be okay with it. I mean, in terms of the nonsense in the chaos, it is absolutely the epitome of that. Forever, all day, every day, your reality is being turned on its head because of human interaction. And the one thing that's stable and that gives you solace and takes care of you is the beautiful nature all around you, because it's stunning. I've done a lot of tourism stuff this week. So when I got back from the tourism summit and selling Sark and talking about how great Sark is and being really positive, I then came back and spent time with my friends, and we had a delicious Greek feast here at our house that my wonderful housemate Ellie made. And we just had this. Greek food's my favourite cuisine. If I got stuck on an island and could only eat one cuisine for the rest of my life, it would be Greek. It's just so summery and delicious, and I love it. So we had a huge, beautiful Greek feast, and my friends came over to the house. And then the next day we got up and we went down into the Giulio Caves, which is a huge cave system that is covered, because it's submerged underwater for half the day from high, for high tide. And so when it goes out, the walls are covered in sea anemones, and so they look like little round jewels. They're actually like little slimy nipples, but they look like jewels, so they're called the jeweled caves, and they're stunning. So we went and had a swim down there and went down into the Giulio Caves. And then that night we went for dinner at the Old Hall, and we went to the music jam night, and my friends got up and sang, which was wonderful. It was really nice to see them do that. And everyone was like, oh my God, your mates are so cool. It's like, aren't they lovely? Yes, they're hippies. They're very hippie. I loved it so much. And it was just funny watching them interact with, being vegan. One of them was vegan and didn't want to use plastic. And, my friend's really on it with being not up for things like plastic straws or plastic containers if it's unnecessary, and so was very willing to question it. It's just funny going around the island with them doing that to everybody, and I was just like, well, I mean, they are right. I think for me, I pick my battles because I'm having to live alongside people, and there are many battles having to be picked and fought and done all the time, that some things end up falling by the wayside that actually I do really care about. Like, it really bothered me that one of the pubs was using plastic straws the other day. I was like, why? We don't need to use plastic straws. But so it was nice to be with my friends who kind of were an impetus to do that again and question things again that I'd maybe let slide. And my friend, and it not come from me, it's coming from a tourist. So that helps as well, because it means that they sort of have to listen, because tourists are what we need. So if the tourists aren't happy, and that's what, the modern world is like, and people don't want plastic, then the islanders are more likely to listen. But yeah, then yesterday we went kayaking, and I really loved being out on the sea again and going exploring along the coast. We went somewhere I've never been before called Pot Bay, which is a creux, and our harbour is called Creux Harbour. And a creux is a cave where the ceiling's fallen in, so it's a chimney. And Creux Harbour used to be a creux, now it's just like a basin, a bay, so it's a natural harbour. There was a creux in Little Sark called Pot Bay. You used to be able to get into it from above, holding onto a rope, but it has had lots of landslides and it's become unsafe, and the landowner doesn't want to get sued, and his insurance isn't going to cover people hurting themselves on his land, so he's closed off the route from above, but you can get in there still from the sea. So we went and had an explore together, and that's the first time I've ever been there. So I love that I'm still discovering new places here, and that's what's amazing, that it's a goldfish bowl, but there's always new things to experience. And even like the tidal differences, some of the experiences I had in the caves yesterday on my kayak were crazy. Like, it was probably the biggest swell, and yeah, it was some of the hairiest situations. One of my friends fell out of their kayak and we had to get back in again. But all of it was really good for me as a training and reminder of how to do things, because I'm taking people out on Saturday and I had to do a rescue. I've only done a rescue like once or twice before, and I've been doing this for 4 years now. So it was a useful retrain to do that. And my friend was totally fine. It was just because it was very swelly. We kept getting hit by really big waves when we were trying to negotiate tiny little spaces in our kayaks. But it's so beautiful. Like, the sun's back out. We're going to have a heat wave all weekend. It's going to be a hot, lovely weekend. But I really need to chill. I definitely need to chill. Next weekend I'm working all weekend as well. It's going to be a big one next weekend. So I need to take it easy. And yeah, so as you can hear, my voice is not great. We did a lot of talking at the summit. It was like a speed dating thing. And yeah, so up until yesterday, I was absolutely clear about that. I am clear still that I will do these festivals. Someone said something to me that was good, but it just meant that, so there's 2 festivals I'm going to be putting on next year. One is the flagship of the Millennium William the Conqueror thing, and that's going to be a heavy metal, Norman themed metal festival, and that's going to be really fun, but it's not something I want to go to. It's going to just be work, which is cool, because it will help me be more focused, and in a way it'll be easier because I'm not going to be partying as well as going to it, whereas Beltane, it's an excuse for me to party. It's a party I want to go to, it's just that I have to put it on. But the folk pirate festival that I'm going to do at the beginning of August, that is again one I want to party at. But I'd created it so it's a real light touch. So we will put something on at the Seigneury and there will be something there. But there'll be things happening all over the island. And someone then told me yesterday that they have made some really good connections with a lot of really famous folk artists who were keen to come over and perform here. But they would be talking like agency fees, so proper money. And that was what sidelined me, because it's not that there's nothing wrong with that. That's cool. It's just that then you're talking about me making that second festival really big as well. It's no longer the light touch festival that it was meant to be, which means I definitely can't do that as well next year. Like, I can't do 2 big festivals again. 2 big festivals next year after doing Beltane. I can do Beltane, 1 big festival and another light touch festival. But yeah, it just threw me. And I just got a bit annoyed because they were like, well, actually, maybe if you can't do it, then I could get someone else to do it. And I was like, yeah, but then that's going to be competing with what I'm doing. It's just that there's only so many weekends available where there isn't stuff happening, and also we want to make sure that the bin men aren't overwhelmed. And there's a lot of moving parts that I'm trying to make sure work, and it just feels a bit exhausting when someone's like, oh well, I'm just going to do this other thing then, and you're like, oh okay, cool, whatever. It would be nice if we worked together rather than you just doing something separate. But also they haven't got any time. They do more than I do in many ways. So I don't know. It's just sometimes someone says something and it kind of pulls the wind out of yourselves. So I feel a little bit deflated from that. And that was just last night. So that conversation happened last night. I've got my glad rags on. I put my makeup on. I've got ready for doing a Friday night shift at the Merms. That's like 7 hours shift tonight. And it's really warm. It's very hot here. We're going to have this lovely heat wave. But yeah, I'm just feeling ill and tired and a bit deflated, having had an amazing week. So yeah, I like to be honest with you about where I'm at and how I'm feeling and unpick it, because it actually kind of helps me talking about it here on my own in the room. I love it though, because I do get feedback from you and I really appreciate it. I really do. And if you've never spoke to me before, do reach out to me and talk to me, give me advice, or tell me if things resonate with you, because it's lovely to hear and know. Every time I get someone who I don't really know contact me, or someone who I didn't expect to say, oh yeah, I love your podcast or whatever, it really makes my day. So I think probably it's time to pick a rune. If you enjoy this podcast, then please consider supporting me on Patreon, which is patreon.com/Jolie Rose. It is a dream to be able to just do this full time, and it feels like it's achievable. There are increasing numbers of people starting to follow me and be interested in what I'm doing, and I really appreciate it. So thank you. If you're new here, welcome, and it's lovely to have you. And if you're someone who's followed me the whole way, who's a friend of mine, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. It's been an amazing journey getting to learn how to use the equipment and make the podcast, and I keep wanting to try and make it better and slicker, which today's a bit of a joke with me waking up and realising I hadn't even done one. I will bring one out each week, even if I'm ill and even if I have lost my marbles through menopause. I will still push on through and make a podcast for you, unless it's the creation hibernation time when I will take time out to write. I've been working on my book some more, so that should be ready to go out soon. There's a little bit to do left, but I'm very happy with where it's at and can't wait to share it with the world. So I'm going to hopefully get a publisher. If you know anyone who's a book publisher who might be interested in the kind of books that you think I might write, or if you've read my previous work, this is much more accessible than my previous books. This one's about my pilgrimage across the UK, the first one that I walked, where my husband split up with me, and it's what led to me moving here to Sark. And it was an incredible journey where I met lots of wonderful people. If you were in that pilgrimage at any point, if you met me and walked with me or had anything to do with me, then you're in my book. And I can't wait for you to read it and to hear me talk about you, because it will all be with love, I promise. It's taken a long time for this book to get ready, but I feel like it's there, and I've improved as a writer so much from the process of doing it. And I feel like it's one that could be more mainstream and could reach bigger audiences than I have previously. So I look forward to getting that out there. It's called Walking with Autumn. And then also the Which Fool Are You course will be starting next month with the Gemini Dark Moon, which I think is the 14th of June. Let me just check in my diary. 15th of June. So we'll have the Dark Moon in Gemini opening ceremony. And then each Monday, so on the 15th is a Monday, so each Monday for the next 4 weeks, you'll receive a love bundle through your email with exercises, creative exercises to do, and prompts and things to think about and explore in your inner world that will help you to find out what your archetype is. Like, who are you playing in the world of the play of life? What's your lineage? What's your atmosphere? What kind of role is it? What belongs to you? What are your tools? What sort of partners do you suit? Who are the kind of people in your life that belong to you? And then it's so much easier to live life when you know that. Like, I know who my archetypes are and I just live into them. I own them. I enjoy being them, and I enjoy spending time with them, and I enjoy diving into them deeper. So I've re-explored some of my archetypes again, doing another round with people in the Which 4 You course, and I'll dive deeper into my archetype and enjoy exploring them even further. So I love doing it. It's the most profound work I do. It's the deepest work I do, and I really see huge results in people. They transform and are so bigger and brighter. You can see that they're living into their higher selves, and that's what I want the world to be full of people being their biggest, brightest selves, because they're definitely always more fun to hang out with. So if you would like to shine bright and be the star that you are, then come and do the course. And yeah, so thank you for supporting me. And if you are able to support with a monthly donation, it makes such a difference. I would like this to be my full-time job. If I can get that happening, then I won't have to work at the weekends in the pub, and I can be free to be an artist once more, which I used to do in the UK. So let's keep chugging along, and thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Now on with the show. So the rune that I've pulled is the Silver Birch, New Beginnings. And that came out in the reading that I did for this lunar cycle from the moon that we just had, which was the Taurus dark moon. And the Taurus dark moon is very Aphrodite. So Aphrodite is my main archetype. And it just has shown up in everything that I've ever done. But also, once you know that, in a way, it's fun to play with pushing against it and being something else. So, like, I don't wear makeup most of the time. And I'm quite blokey, and I'm quite happy to be blokey and just be comfortable. I wear really bright, fabulous clothes, but they're normally comfortable. I won't squeeze myself into things that are not comfortable to be in. I don't live somewhere where you could wear high heels. We don't have roads, we just have dirt tracks. But even in the UK, I did actually go through a phase in my 20s of wearing stilettos, but that's because I was sort of going through quite an S&M kinky stage and wore a lot of high heels at that point. I used to go everywhere on my bike in high heels. I loved it. But that was a phase, and most of my life I've been wearing comfortable shoes. I just really think it's important to embrace and enjoy who you are. And the Taurus dark moon for me was a reset to remember and to tune in and to begin again. And it felt like the end of the pilgrimage that I went through, because it felt more like something I went through rather than went on, the last pilgrimage. The group of people that we had diminished significantly just before we set off. So there was meant to be 7 of us walking, and it ended up being 4 of us. And the dynamic was really tough. There was some very tricky, energetic things going on that made it particularly difficult. And I struggled and I was having a hard time. I didn't realise that I was going through the menopause and that the menopause was affecting how I was feeling and being and what was happening. It was making it even harder. And it started to show up in having medical issues. I had a bad problem with my back and I had a problem with my ankles, and I've never had any of that before. Normally when I walk the pilgrimages, I come away from them feeling so strong and fit, and I came away from this one feeling fat. My ankles were screwed, and although my back, I managed to fix it on the pilgrimage, which was amazing. Someone gave me some extremely strong anti-inflammatories, and it seemed to make, and it's been fine ever since. My back's totally fine, so thank goodness, because that was acute pain. I thought I was going to have to stop, and I thought I might have damaged myself for life, but it seems to have actually remedied something that was kind of there a bit before. So there was a pain in that spot already, and I kind of think it was already starting to hernia a little bit. It'd been maybe even over a year of being like that, and then the pilgrimage had made it, exasperated it, but then this medication seemed to suck it in, and it's fine now. I haven't got a pain in that area of my back at all. But my ankles, I realised when I got back that I'd been riding my bike with my seat too high, and I'd been overextending my ankles for years, like the whole time I'd lived here. So 3-4 years of extending my ankles, and I couldn't, every time I sat down on the pilgrimage and got up again, they were completely stiff and they really hurt, and I'd have to get moving. And then once I was moving, they were okay. But when I got back, they just were exactly the same. Like, they were in so much pain for ages. And I knew that I really needed to rest them. But I also had put on weight, and I realised now that was because of the menopause as well. And I just couldn't shift it. And it was, I did the detox thing, what I normally do, and I gave up wheat and dairy and I gave up sugar, and the weight wasn't going. That was frustrating. And then I went on the journey of finding out what was wrong with me, and found out that I've got an underactive thyroid, which slows your metabolism down. So I started taking thyroid medication that hasn't really shifted my weight still, but it has helped. I would say it has helped a bit. And I have now found myself on much more solid ground, having taken the HRT. So all that journey happened after the pilgrimage, which is in September or October. So November is when I got back here. So November, December, got myself into a more stable place. And then there was a bit of a difficult landing coming back home. Things weren't the same when I got back. My husband had made a new group of friends that were an awesome group of people, but I only vaguely knew them. And so I came back to him having like really good friends that were new, and it had always sort of before been me and him. And I'm now really good friends with the group that he made friends with, and we've all become close, and I love them to pieces. And so that's all figured itself out. But it was just a bit clunky when I first got back, because it's always difficult it's just difficult to come back to your partner suddenly being really good friends with a whole new group that you're not friends with when it was just the two of you before. And then we had to move house, and the house came as a surprise. We were expecting to build, which I would have loved to have done, because we were going to build a hobbit house, and we were hoping to build a hobbit house, but actually financially we realised that we didn't have enough money to do that, and we would have had to have done everything. And considering looking at how we're doing DIY on the house here and how capable we are of doing things, we wouldn't have been able to build a house. I mean, we're having to get people to help us to do everything. I bought some fruit trees that I want to plant, and I haven't even managed to plant them yet. So yeah, need to get a bit better at being practical really around the house, because we're not doing a good job of it at the moment. But yeah, so the whole thing of thinking we were going to build a house, and then it turning out that we're not building a house, and then bought this house, and the house was incredible and ridiculously cheap. Like, it was insane, but it's because it was local market, and that's wonderful that local market works. And we're able to keep, families on the island. Diz's family, my husband's family, been here for 500 years, and it's stopping people buying those second homes and pushing people out. And yeah, the local market's a really precious thing, and it's great. And this was an example of it in action. A local lad was able to buy and live on the island through the local market, and that's incredible. So very lucky. I feel extremely lucky. This has all been a surprise to both of us, because we didn't know anything about any of it happening, the inheritance or anything. And then we have put on the festival Beltane, which was our wedding anniversary, and that's a lot of work, and a lot of emotional relationship stuff goes on with that, because we were stressed. We just moved house as well, so being stressed out, being tired. But we've had the festival went amazing, and we had so much fun, and people blow your mind with how supportive and helpful they are, and you just end up just deeper in love with everyone. And we've come out the other end, we're deeper in love with each other. And then my best mate's moved over, and she's been brilliant and has been helping me out with everything, and she gets on really well with my husband, and we're just a family now. It's like the three of us live here, and we have a lovely relaxed feel. It just feels like I've got support. She helps with the housework, and she helps with the house, and that's really good. And yeah, it just feels like the dark moon, Taurus dark moon, my archetype, and that like sexy, sensual yumminess. I was able to just sit in it and just be in it, and I landed. And as soon as I did, it felt like the pilgrimage had finally come to an end. It's like, okay, so you went through some trials and tribulations, and that's what a juicy pilgrimage, I'd say, is the word, because it's not necessarily good, but a juicy pilgrimage really challenges you, really pushes you, and off the back of it, massive transformations happen. I am now living in a house that we own. We're no longer paying rent. I'm not ever going to be paying rent ever again. And that's amazing. I am going to be paying land rent and tax, but we're not paying a landlord rent anymore, and no one can move us out of this house. This is our house, and we're able to do whatever we want to it. And yeah, just it's a security that I never sought or expected. It feels like an amazing gift that the universe has given us this place. It's stunning. And then also our relationship, me and Diz, it's developed and is more solid and more kind of real, I guess. We're so good. We work well together. And even when things are difficult, we still are able to communicate and work our way through it. We've had a fight for the first time, but it was totally fine. And we just made up in a healthy way, like the next morning. And it felt good. It felt like we'd achieved something by being able to communicate and move on so quickly. With my last marriage, things would hang on for ages and be pulled up again in the future. And yeah, it just felt like everything was always a catastrophe. I was treading on eggshells the whole time. And so to be in a relationship where I feel like we can just communicate and we can move on and we can forgive and we have fun and make each other laugh and work well as a team and can put on a festival even when we're moving house and it's really stressful, but we can still do it. And it just feels so like a partnership and one that works well. We just got a lovely group of friends as well that are supportive and are going to help me with the festival. Like I talked about it with them yesterday, and they're all up for coming on board to help with putting these festivals on next year. So yeah, it feels like I've come out the other end of everything, landed and feeling supported and in a new place, but it's now a new beginning. And I think that there's lots going on astrologically that also means that collectively there's a new beginning happening. With Uranus was already in Gemini, and as we got here into Gemini, it's Gemini season now. It's this new season of ideas and thoughts and communication. And then Uranus is the planet of like sudden change and like surprise change. And it was in Gemini when we got here. So it feels like there's this time for sort of big new things to happen, relationships or work, like what needs shifting, what needs changing, what you want to communicate differently. Yeah. And I feel like for me to get help with the things that are coming up and I need to talk to this person again and take the wind out of myself, because they didn't do anything wrong. They just were talking. They were excited about the fact they'd made these connections. But it's just about being in communication about what we're doing and how we're doing it and asking for help. Yeah, asking for help. Lots of things, really. It feels like a new bunch of work is starting to unfold. And I need to start it now, and I need to think about how to do these things now. But also to look after myself and give myself some time out. I think where I'm at right this second is I've got a bunch of things that I need to follow up and do. I went to those meetings, need to follow up and email those people and just make sure that I kind of lock that all in. But also I need a bit of time out from partying. I've had a really great... I mean, we haven't been partying that hard, but it has been a lot because my friend just moved over and then people are coming over to visit, and Beltane has been... Because it's the 22nd, yes, we've had 22 days. That much of that was Beltane fun, and then things happening between now and then, people visiting and stuff. And yeah, I just feel like I need a little bit of time out to just get on with the work and make sure that I'm kind of on more stable ground in terms of that. And then I can party again a bit more in the summer when it like gets to big summer solstice on the 21st of June. So yeah, I think between now and then, give myself a little bit of space to have some downtime and relax. So that brings me on to the Chaos Crusade. For this week's Chaos Crusade, I invite you to do some deep relaxation. If you are someone who meditates, I would invite you to do a longer meditation than you normally do. I normally do 10-15 minute meditations almost every day, but it's really important in Gemini season that you do meditation every day, that you get your practice up again, because it's a heady time of year. So do your practice. If you don't do a practice, maybe start implementing a practice. There's Insight, there's an app called Insight, that you can use that does 10-minute meditations, or you can just put 10-minute meditations into YouTube. There are lots of ways that you can get them for free. And I just do a 10-minute every day. And then I also do a 20-minute yoga session with Adrienne, who's a YouTube yoga instructor, and she has lots of like between 15 and 30-minute sessions that she has. So I normally will sit down, light a candle, light a joss stick, pull a card, and that card's like an inspiration for the day. And then I'll do a yoga session, and then I'll do a meditation. And that all takes about an hour. It's sort of probably more about like 45 minutes, but it could be up to an hour. But it just gives me that time to just wake up and chill and be alive and enjoy my day and feel like I've nourished myself. It's like I've taken myself to the spa before I start the day, and then it takes me an hour to get ready. So I give myself 2 hours in the morning to get up and get ready, and it just means that I start the day feeling well and refreshed and grounded. So my invitation is this week to push yourself to do a longer one, to sit for an hour and just do a longer meditation. It can be a guided one, or it can be one that you just sit and do on your own, but just to give yourself that space to do something a bit longer than you normally do. But also, the other thing I would say to do at the moment is morning pages. So with the Gemini season, it's really good to get up and empty your head and to sit and just write. So you write 3 pages. It doesn't matter how big your notebook is. Just sit and write 3 pages that you're never going to read again. Gemini is so heady. So just clear your head out and get that sort of slate clean first thing in the morning. So you're not worrying about things and moaning about things and all that. It's all going to be negative, but you're not meant to read it again. And just clear your head out. So it could be that you do that, but whatever it is, do something to help calm your nervous system and silence the noise in your head. So I hope that's useful. Thank you again for being here and for being understanding. But I'll be back on track again next week with a guest. So thank you so much for being here. I love you all very much. And thanks for your support. I really appreciate it. I'll see you then on.